Arria is famous really for one thing, and that's actually the manner of her death, and this famous way in which she shows her husband Pitus the way in terms of committing suicide. So this verbatim quote, "Pite non dolet," doesn't hurt Pitus. So she's cast, I think, as being a woman who is really framed by a level of bravery that focuses on her own death. And what Pliny, I think, is doing in this letter is pulling the camera backwards, really, and looking at earlier instances of why Arria is an admirable woman beyond that famous moment. And he's making a general point in this letter as well. He's arguing that actually sometimes the most famous, the most celebrated incidents are actually not as valuable as less well-known stories from somebody's life. So he's trying to fill out the picture a little bit. But Arria really, through all of these stories, is cast as being a woman who is has her exemplary status because of how she interacts with other male members of her family. Yeah, I mean, she's basically quite an interesting figure because although she's being put on a pedestal as an example of female virtue, the reason that she's being put on that pedestal is because she is not manifesting a lot of the character traits that are traditionally and stereotypically associated with women in the ancient world. For example, a tendency to express their emotions, to get very emotional, to be unstoic. And here we have Arria, I think, very much behaving as if she were a man, almost. So in the story about the illness of her husband and her son, what you get is this sort of extraordinary level of self-control where the son actually dies, but in order not to jeopardise her husband's recovery from this clearly very dangerous illness, she holds in all her feelings and goes about business very much as if her son was still alive, and amidst everything has to arrange his funeral and basically do it in such a way that her husband knows nothing about it. And even when the husband asks how the son is getting along, she responds as if the son is still alive. So she's selflessly burying really her own feelings in a bid to help her husband to recover. And I think the point that Pliny wants us to take away from this is that this is really an extraordinary thing that she's doing. She's not giving way to her emotion. She's not crying. She's not doing all of the things you would expect somebody in a terrible state of grief to do. And the reason she's doing that is exclusively for her husband.